Rev up your engines! DS Ford says, Scotty, should I trade my 2014 Tacoma with 157,000 miles for a new 2024 Ford Maverick? I think you're nuts, but if you could trade even, and money-wise, you wouldn't be coming in bad. The Tacoma's can last forever. The Mavericks are all made in Mexico, where quality's kind of bad. They're little bitty trucks. But if you could trade yours, it's got 157,000 miles even for a Ford Maverick, go ahead. And you're not going to lose out. But I doubt if anybody's going to want to trade even. The Tacoma's going to run forever. Take care of it. They can go and go and go. And it's a Ford. Come on. They all fall apart when they get older. And the ones made in Mexico, even more so. They're smaller. They get better gas mileage. You want to toy around with one? It's your money. Just realize the quality isn't that good on those things made down in Mexico. I would stick with the Tacoma if it was me. But if you could trade it even, you're not going to be losing that much money. But I doubt if anybody would do that. DS says, Scotty, my wife's Lexus NX200T has a hard start when the gas level's below a quarter or below. Cranks about 3 seconds. When the tank's full, it starts right up. What could be wrong? Most of the time, it means your fuel pump is getting weak. Because when it's full, all the weight of the gas helps feed it, right? So it can have all that pressure to feed the pump. When you get under a quarter of a tank, there's less pressure, and if it's harder to start, it means the pump isn't being primed as well. You didn't see how many miles you have, you know? I mean, if it's got 100-something thousand miles, the pump is probably getting weak. But before you throw any money, it could be somewhat clogged up inside. Try some of my friend Bernie's cleaner. Type Bernie Albuquerque ATS cleaner. Get the gas tank cleaner, pour it in. You never know. That might clean it up and it might stop. You don't have to do anything. Sports God 05 says, Scotty, I'm looking at a new truck to plow snow. Toyota Tundra or Ram Diesel. What do you think? Thanks. Okay. Well, the Tundras can run forever. You get an older Tundra if you can find one with a V8. You got plenty of power. Don't buy a new one because they're only V6 twin turbos. I would not plow with that, right? That's what I'd go for. But the Ram diesels aren't bad, and you're probably going to find you can get a Ram diesel in decent shape a lot cheaper than a Toyota Tundra. And if you're talking about $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 cheaper, you might as well get a Ram diesel. And you're going to use a lot less gas plowing with a diesel than you are with a gasoline engine. You know, in the United States, unfortunately, Toyota really doesn't sell diesels, so you can't get one of theirs. The rest of the world does, but not the United States. Kazan Far says, Scotty, what's your opinion? 2016 Malibu, 1.5 liter, 87,000 miles, or a Camry, 2011, 2.5 liter, with 180,000 miles. I'd go for the Camry, hands down. One, it's got a nice sized 4-cylinder engine, 2.5 liters. The Chevy is a piece of crap, 1.5 liter, tiny little engine that doesn't put out enough power, and it probably is turbocharged. It's going to wear out even faster. Camrys are so much better made than the Chevy Malibus are. It would make your head spin. Realize they're not making the Malibus anymore. They're still making the Camrys and selling the heck out of them, right? GM doesn't know how to make cars anymore. They make trucks and SUVs. They're pretty much giving up on cars. Tom Karen says, Scotty, what are your thoughts on the 2-liter turbo engine, the Acura RDX? Are they reliable? Okay. Well, Acura are just fancy Hondas. Honda makes an excellent 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Excellent. But, of course, when you turbocharge an engine, you're ramming more air in. You're increasing the pressure inside the engine. The engine will wear out faster, and so will the turbo. The turbo guys say, well, the turbos are good for at least 100,000 miles. I want an engine and system that's going to last 300,000 or 400,000, not just 100,000, right? They'll wear out faster. They're good engines. Honda knows how to make engines. They've got a great track record, but it will wear out faster. That's why the old ones that had plain old V6 non-turbos will go much further in the Acuras than the modern ones that have 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder engines. They just won't last as long. There's too much pressure, too much horsepower coming out of a small engine instead of a bigger engine with a V configuration that has natural torque versus an inline that has less torque. They just cheat by turbocharging them, but they won't last as long. Randy Ramirez says, I got an '08 Civic, 271,000 miles. When it gets cold, the front driver's side window doesn't work. The others work fine. Why does the front driver's side not work when it gets cold? Because your motor is just weaker on that side. It's starting to wear out. It's a Honda Civic. You're probably the only person that rides in it most of the time, right? So you're always using the driver's window, up, down, up, down, up, down. The motor wears out. The other 3 windows you probably don't use that much. And that's just what happens. Now, don't go to Honda and buy the stuff. They rip you off because they sold it all separate parts. What you can do is you can go aftermarket with the window and the motor regulator assembly. You can get it for less than $100 if you parse around. Replace the whole thing. You don't stop doing it. If you don't care, leave it alone. Use the other windows, right? But if you do, just buy the whole motor regulator assembly aftermarket bolted. And I got videos showing you how to do it. It's not that hard to do. Piggy says, Scotty, my '03 Mustang doesn't ship out of first till I redline it when doing a pull. Is that normal? All right. Well, when you're pulling really hard, it doesn't shift, you get redline. It depends on how that thing was set up. It's an '03. You're probably not the original owner, right? Guys have messed with transmissions and those things over the years. They might have set it up that way. If you drive totally normal, and it doesn't do that, but then when you're really pulling it, red lines, they probably set it up that way. And if you don't like it, take it to a guy like me or take it to a speed dude and say, I want it reprogrammed so that it doesn't redline the whole time when I'm really punching it before it shifts into second gear. All that stuff's adjustable. See if they can adjust it back down. Somebody probably put it up that way. It isn't supposed to be that way. It wasn't built that way. Guys modify those things all the time, and you can modify them back, too. Charlie Gim says, my '01 Tundra's bouncy. What struts would you recommend it? Well, those KYB struts are pretty good. I've had, good luck with them. If you want to spend a whole bunch of money, you can go to real top-line off-road ones and stuff. If you want the resilient stuff, you can spend, $800 a piece if you want to buy some crazy off-road stuff. But generally, the KYB, they're made in Japan, and they're pretty good strut replacements that you can put on them. Don't buy any company with those complete struts that are replacements. Just bolt on, bolt off, because they're all made like crap. I've had so many people, they'll buy those entire replacement struts because, well, I don't want to take the spring apart. I'll just buy the whole assembly. And they're so cheaply made. Usually they're worn out within a year or two or even less. So don't buy the complete strut assemblies. Most of the ones I've ever seen, they're all garbage as time goes on. Just get a regular replacement KYB, take it apart, and reuse your spring and everything. U.S. Navy SEAL says, hey, I live in Iraq. What do you think about Chinese cars like MG and Cherry? Are they reliable cars? You're living in Iraq. Maybe the Chinese import things there more. They don't sell them in the United States, right? MG was originally a British company that made Morris garages, made the little MG sports cars, MGB, MGA, all that stuff. The Chinese bought them years ago, and they tried making sports cars, but they failed. Now they make regular little SUVs and stuff, and from what I've read, they're okay. They sell them in Europe. If they sell them in Iraq, you can get parts for them, and there's mechanics that know how to fix them. They're probably decent vehicles. Don't ever buy one in the United States as it stands today because you can't get parts for the thing. I can't get repair information because they're not sold here. So my data systems don't give me the data, so I can't really work on them either. So, but find out in Iraq, do people buy them? Are there places that know how to fix them? And if they do, from what I've read, they're decent vehicles. Man says, Scotty, I got an '02 Chevy Silverado. Odometer, 338,000 miles. Whenever I press the brakes, my turn signals come on. What could be wrong? Typical with GM. GMs have problem with their grounding systems. Your old car's 12 volts. All the wires have positive 12 volts. The body and all the metal parts are supposed to be negative 12 volts. Chevy has problems with the grounding system. So when the grounding systems break down, crap like that happens. I've had people that you step on your brakes and the horn blows. It's because it's feeding back through a bad ground and making other things operate. So there are a whole bunch of ground wires. If you don't want to get a wiring diagram and try to find it yourself, pay a mechanic like me. We've got the wiring diagrams that go through the whole vehicle, check all the grounds, and odds are one of the grounds is bad, and then it feeds power back and then makes that happen when you step on the brakes. I see that all the time. GM has history of ground wiring problems. They just make them too cheap. And if the ground wires are too thin or they're not cleaned right and they rust, then you'll get weird stuff like that. Matthew Beachy Pace says, Scotty, I got an '17 Corolla. Makes a growl when I accelerate. Only acceleration at very specific RPM. What could it be? Could I send you a video of the noise? Thanks. Yeah, what you want to do, I do not download videos. There's too much. Could be viruses and screw up my computers and everything. You make a video on YouTube. I will watch anything on YouTube. It's the safest platform around. And send me a URL of the YouTube video. If you don't know how, Google how to make a YouTube video. They'll show you, right? And I will watch that video. If it only does it at a certain RPM and it makes a growl, it usually means you got a problem inside the transmission. And if you want to pinpoint it yourself, watch my video, Finding the source of car noise is Scotty. Type that on YouTube and watch it. And with a device like that, which you can buy as cheap as $90 on Amazon now, these listening devices for finding sound, you'd be able to pinpoint the noise. And if it makes it when you put it on the transmission, you'll know there's something internal to the transmission that's doing it. Dakota Blanco said, Scotty, you said the GM 3500 was your best choice for a big truck. Would you choose gas or diesel for reliability? All right, I would not buy a GM diesel because I have had customers do it. They don't hold up over time. They might last 130, 40,000, but then when they break down, they cost a fortune to fix. They do not hold up over time. If you want to do that, get the gasoline version. They seem to run and run and run and run and run. As long as you're getting the GMC 3500, do not buy the Chevy Silverado 1500. They're garbage. It's more professional truck grade, and they're decent trucks. Marvin Lopez Rangel says, help, Scotty, I blew my head gasket on my RAV4 2011. They machined it down, put a new gasket. Will it survive for many more miles? Well, if they did the job right, I don't know what kind of a job they did. And unfortunately, from my experience, sometimes as much as half of the engines that people have done head gaskets and worked on, shaved the heads and stuff, don't work out that well in the run because the guys don't know what the heck they're doing. Most of the good machinists at machine shops that I know are either dead or they've retired. There's very few guys that actually work on them all the time anymore because the parts cost so much money. Modern cars are so complex, and you've got to replace so many different parts when the engines do need rebuilding that it costs so much money to actually rebuild an engine correctly. Nobody does. So they just hope, we'll put a new gasket, maybe some seals and bearings in, and we'll pray it lasts for whatever. They give a year warranty for a year, you know. That's the thing. It should, if he did a good job. You never know. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.